The sky was quiet. Too quiet. Normally, the young dragon's wings beat loudly against the air, echoing through the cliffs and the nesting caves. But today nothing stirred. Not a flap. Not a chirp. Not even a soft whine. The elders waited in the central tower, their scales gleaming under the pale sunlight, eyes scanning every horizon. Something was wrong. Rylan, one of the older dragons, tightened his claws around the stone railing. He could feel it in his chest, the fear that clawed at him whenever the younglings were in danger. "They are gone," he whispered, though no one needed him to say it. The silence said enough. The missing dragons were small, barely a third of an elder's size, their wings still fragile and soft. They could barely lift off without falling, and the cliffs around the nesting grounds were steep and sharp. Every adult dragon knew that if they wandered too far they would be in serious trouble. Yet here they were, gone. Messages flew through the air, carried by pulses of light between towers and ships. Every corner of the dragon enclave buzzed with urgent energy. Other elders joined Rylan, their scales reflecting worry. "Have the sensors picked up anything?" Rylan asked. His voice trembled slightly, though he tried to hide it. "No," one of the watchers said, shaking his head. "Nothing. Not even a shadow of them." A chill ran through the group. Dragons had sharp senses. If the children had even flapped toward the valley, they would have been detected. But the readings showed nothing. It was as if the wind had swallowed them whole. Rylan paced the platform. He tried to think. Did they fall? Did they get carried by a strong wind? Or did humans take them? The thought made his chest tighten. Humans were smaller, weaker, and unpredictable. Some dragons distrusted them, some feared them. And in times of panic, fear grew faster than reason. Meanwhile, down below, scouts and searchers prepared their wings. They would fly in teams, combing every hill, every river, every forest. Nothing could be left unchecked. They flew with careful precision, their eyes sharp, scanning the landscape. Rylan climbed higher, seeking the wind currents. He wanted to feel where the children might have gone. Sometimes intuition mattered more than sensors. He closed his eyes and listened. The wind brushed against his scales, soft and cool. A faint scent reached him, a strange mix of earth and metal, faintly familiar. Not like any dragon scent. Not even close. The elders gathered around. Their faces were grim and their tails swayed nervously. "We cannot panic," said Lissa, the oldest of them all. Her voice was calm, but there was an edge to it. "If humans took them, we must be careful. If they are lost, we must find them before something bad happens." Rylan nodded. He wanted to shout, to call out to the skies, to force the wind to answer him. But he stayed still. He remembered the stories from long ago, of younglings lost and found, of dragons who trusted their instincts. He knew rushing without thought could make things worse. Hours passed. The sun moved across the sky, casting long shadows over the cliffs. Still no sign of the children. The wind shifted. A faint echo of laughter? No, too far. Maybe imagination. But every elder felt it, the tiny hope that refused to die. Meanwhile, in the control chambers, sensors finally picked up faint energy readings near the planet below. Small, irregular pulses. Not dragon pulses, not mechanical pulses. Something else. Something alive. The news spread quickly. "Signals detected," one of the operators shouted. The elders gathered around the viewing screens, their eyes widening as the dots moved. There, in a quiet valley on the planet's surface, tiny shapes ran and flapped. They were small dragons, but not alone. Humans moved beside them, running, laughing, holding ropes, and playing strange games. Rylan froze. The humans? Here. The children had somehow ended up near them. Fear mixed with confusion. Humans were unpredictable, yes, but why would they be here? Were they helping or capturing? The elders debated. Some wanted to send ships immediately to demand answers. Others hesitated, feeling a strange pull in their chest, a soft curiosity. No adult dragon had ever trusted humans easily, and yet something about this scene felt different. Lissa's eyes narrowed. "We go," she said finally. "But with caution. Do not attack. Observe first. Learn what is happening. The children's safety comes first." Rylan nodded, relief and tension mixing together. The decision was made. Wings spread wide, dragons took to the skies, their eyes fixed on the tiny figures below. Every beat of their wings was careful, silent, as if disturbing the humans or the children could break something delicate. As they approached, the dragons saw more clearly. The children were laughing. Tiny claws tripped on grass, wings flapped awkwardly, and humans ran beside them, steadying them, cheering them on. No fear. No pain. Only joy. Ryland's heart ached and softened at the same time. The humans were helping. Somehow, in ways dragons never expected, these small, fragile humans were helping dragon children fly. The elders hovered above, uncertain. The children's laughter echoed in the air, mixing with the wind, carrying a lesson they were not ready to understand yet. Fear had ruled the skies for hours, but now something else stirred, a tiny, unfamiliar hope. And for the first time that day the elders did not feel panic. They felt curiosity. Somehow, somewhere, humans were showing dragons something new. Something powerful. The silence that had terrified the skies began to break, not with alarm but with a strange, growing wonder. The dragons hovered above the planet, their eyes scanning the land below. It was a place they had never paid much attention to. Small hills rolled gently, rivers sparkled in the sun, and tiny buildings, humans' homes, spread across the fields like scattered stones. The dragons had always looked to the mountains, the forests, and the high cliffs. They never expected the children to wander here. Ryland's heart thumped. "This is not where they belong," he said. His voice trembled slightly, though he tried to sound calm. "Humans live here. Why would the children be near them?" Lys's gaze was sharp. "We must see for ourselves. Move closer but quietly. Do not scare them." The dragons descended carefully. Their massive wings made little sound, their shadows stretching across the grassy plains. From above, the valley looked peaceful. No traps. No cages. Nothing threatening. Only small figures running and playing. Then the dragons noticed something strange. The missing dragon children were not alone. Tiny humans ran beside them, arms outstretched, faces bright with excitement. Some held ropes that helped the dragon children balance. Others clapped and shouted encouragement when a wing flapped successfully. The elders blinked in surprise. For centuries dragons had feared humans. Humans were smaller, fragile, unpredictable. Dragons thought they could never understand the sky. And yet here, in this quiet valley, humans and dragons played together. One of the elder dragons hissed softly. "Are they helping them?" Ryland's eyes widened. "It cannot be. Humans do not know how to teach dragons to fly. They cannot." Lysa shook her head slowly. "Perhaps we have underestimated them." The dragons hovered closer, careful not to frighten the children. They could see the dragons laughing as they stumbled and fell. Each human smiled when a child managed even a small lift. There was no fear, no anger, only joy. It was unlike anything dragons had ever seen. Ryland's chest tightened. He had imagined humans capturing dragon children, keeping them in cages or worse. But what he saw now was different. The humans were gentle, patient, encouraging. They did not rush the children. They did not scold them for mistakes. They simply helped. A small dragon tripped over a patch of grass, its tiny wings folding awkwardly. A human child ran forward, held a hand to steady it, and whispered words that the dragons could not understand but felt warm in their hearts. The dragon tried again, flapped once, twice, and rose a few inches. The human cheered, and the dragon's small eyes sparkled with pride. Ryland felt a strange emotion, something between awe and disbelief. He had never seen humans act like this. They were not warriors. They were not hunters. They were teachers? Friends? The elders exchanged glances. Some felt unease. Dragons were proud, strong, and independent. Could a human really help a dragon learn what it had not learned from its own kind? Yet the evidence was clear. The children were improving. Their wings grew stronger with every flap. From above, the dragons watched as the humans guided the children to small hills. They timed their running starts with the wind, letting the dragon children glide down gentle slopes. When a child lifted off, even for a moment, laughter echoed across the valley. It was not fear. It was not panic. It was joy. Lysa's eyes softened. "We thought they were lost. We thought humans might harm them. But they are safe and learning." Ryland's mind raced. Could this really be happening? Could humans, the fragile creatures of the ground, teach dragons how to fly? He had always believed flight came from strength and discipline. He had never imagined that patience and encouragement could do the same. One of the elders spoke quietly. "We cannot interrupt. Not yet. Let them finish. We must understand what is happening here before we act." The dragons hovered silently. They watched the humans teach balance, timing, and confidence. They watched the children fall, laugh, and try again. Every mistake was met with encouragement, every success celebrated. It was a lesson dragons had rarely seen, one of trust and care rather than fear and discipline. Ryland felt a lump in his throat. He remembered his own training as a young dragon. It had been harsh. Every mistake punished, every failure noted. But here was something different. Something better. The sun began to lower in the sky, casting long shadows across the valley. Yet no one left. The humans stayed with the children until the last dragon caught a small lift. Even as night approached, the humans continued to cheer and guide, their energy never faltering. Rylan finally spoke, his voice soft. We should have looked here first. We always searched the mountains, the forests, the cliffs, but never the humans' world. And yet, this is where the children found their wings. Lissa nodded. Perhaps it is time we reconsider what we think we know. Humans, maybe more than we believed. The elders watched as the dragon children took small flights, landing safely on soft grass, laughing and trying again. They were alive. They were learning. And they were happy. For the first time in many hours, the elders did not feel fear. They felt wonder. Something new was growing in their hearts. A recognition that humans could be allies, not enemies. That the sky could belong to both dragons and humans in ways they had never imagined. Rylan looked at the humans and the children and whispered, almost to himself, the children were never truly lost. We just never knew where to look. And so, above the quiet valley, the dragons hovered. The sun set behind them, casting golden light over humans and dragons alike. The place dragons had never looked became the place where hope began, where trust began, and where dragon children learned that the sky was bigger than fear. The valley was alive with laughter and flapping wings. The young dragons struggled, their small bodies unsteady as they tried to lift off the ground. Some tumbled into the grass. Others tried to soar but only managed a few inches before crashing. The humans, however, never panicked. A boy named Joran ran alongside a tiny dragon named Lyra. He held a rope lightly looped around her middle. Try again, he said softly, his voice calm but excited. You can do it. I'll catch you if you fall. Lyra flapped her wings with all her might. She wobbled, leaned forward and then lifted. Just a few feet, but it was enough. She cried out in joy, her voice bright and pure. Joran clapped his hands and laughed. That's it. Higher next time. From above, the elder dragons watched carefully. They were silent, unsure if they should intervene. Nothing about this looked like their way of teaching flight. Dragons were trained with strength, focus, and sometimes harsh lessons. Humans used no harshness, no discipline, no force. Only patience. Only encouragement. Another human, a girl named Mira, crouched low and held her arms wide. A small dragon, Tycho, tried to jump from a tiny hilltop. He stumbled, wings flaring wildly. Mira stepped forward and steadied him. You're okay, she said. Try again. I believe in you. Tycho flapped, hesitated, then caught a gust of wind and soared for a few long seconds before landing gently. He chirped happily, racing back to Mira for another try. Rylan, hovering above, could hardly believe his eyes. The humans were not controlling the dragons. They were not forcing them. They were helping them learn. The children's small wings grew stronger with each attempt. They gained confidence. They laughed when they fell, and when they succeeded, their joy was uncontained. Lissa, the eldest dragon, whispered to the others. They do not teach with fear. They teach with trust. They celebrate success and they comfort failure. Perhaps we have misunderstood the ways of humans all along. Joran guided Lyra to a gentle slope. The wind helps you here, he explained. Run with it. Don't fight it. Let it lift you. Lyra hesitated, unsure. The slope was higher than before and the wind felt strange. But Joran's calm presence steadied her. She ran, flapped, and lifted into the air. The wind caught her wings fully. For the first time she glided. Higher. Joran shouted and Lyra tried again. She rose a little more, eyes wide with amazement. She landed softly at the bottom of the hill, tripping over her own claws but laughing all the same. The elder dragons murmured to one another. They had never seen anything like this. Dragons learned to fly through power and control. Humans taught with patience and care. And yet the results were the same. Maybe even better. Mira helped Tycho up another small hill. Feel the wind, she said. It will lift you. Trust yourself. I trust you. Tycho hesitated but then spread his tiny wings. He lifted, swirled in the air, and landed near Mira with a triumphant chirp. She smiled and held out her hand. Good job. That's amazing. The elder dragons could feel the excitement from below. It was infectious. Something they had forgotten. The pure joy of learning, the thrill of trying, the courage to rise after failure. The humans were giving it to the dragon children freely, without expectation. Even the smallest dragon, Pico, barely able to flap at all, received careful guidance from a boy named Arlen. Arlen knelt on the grass and whispered encouragement. When Pico fell, Arlen caught him gently and set him back on his feet. "Don't give up," Arlen said. "You can do it. I believe in you." Pico tried again. This time he lifted slightly higher. His wings beat faster, his tail flicked in excitement, and he chirped a tiny song of joy. The other humans cheered. The elder dragons were silent, awestruck by the simple power of encouragement. Rylan looked at Lissa. "This is different. They are teaching more than flight. They are teaching trust, and courage, and hope." Lissa nodded slowly. "Perhaps the sky belongs not only to dragons who are strong, but also to those who are brave enough to try." Hours passed. The sun moved lower in the sky. The dragon children became more confident. They flapped higher, glided longer, and laughed louder. The humans never stopped helping. They never scolded, never forced, never became angry. Each success was celebrated. Each failure met with patience. From above, the elders realized that something extraordinary was happening. Humans, small and fragile, were showing dragons the power of care and trust. They were teaching dragons that flight was not only about strength, it was about belief, encouragement, and courage. Finally, as the sun dipped toward the horizon, the valley was filled with dragons soaring, flapping, and landing safely, guided by humans who cheered them on. The elder dragons watched quietly. They had expected fear, danger, and conflict. Instead they found joy, trust, and wonder. Ryland's heart swelled. He had trained dragons all his life. He had seen strength and discipline shape young wings. But what he saw here, this was different. Perhaps it was better. Perhaps it was exactly what the young dragons needed. Lissa turned to the others. "We must remember this," she said. "Humans can teach. Humans can help. Today we see it clearly. This is a lesson we cannot forget." The dragon children flew together, their small shadows dancing on the grass. The humans ran beside them, laughing, shouting encouragement and guiding them gently. The valley echoed with joy. And for the first time in a long time the sky felt alive, not with fear or danger but with hope and laughter. The dragons above knew one thing for certain. Something extraordinary was happening. Humans were teaching dragon children to fly. And in doing so they were teaching dragons something far more important: trust, patience, and courage. The sun hung low over the valley, painting the sky in orange and gold. The dragon children flapped higher and higher, their small wings stronger than before. The humans ran beside them, cheering every lift, guiding every glide, and steadying every fall. From above, the elder dragons watched in silence, their thoughts heavy and uncertain. Rylan felt his chest tighten. He had feared humans would harm the children, that they would interfere or capture them. But now, the humans were helping. They were patient. They were kind. They were brave. The very qualities dragons respected in each other were present here, in beings so small and fragile. Lissa hovered beside him, her eyes soft. "We judged too quickly," she said. "We thought humans could never understand flight, never understand dragons. And yet, they are teaching our younglings to soar." A small dragon, Lyra, flapped toward them, her wings steady, her eyes bright. She chirped happily, racing back to the humans who guided her. The sight made Ryland's heart ache in a way he had not expected. These humans had earned something he had never thought possible. They had earned the trust of dragon children. Then the elder dragons noticed something more. The children were not afraid to speak, even in their tiny voices. They shouted encouragement to each other, laughed at their mistakes, and ran to the humans for guidance. The humans did not give orders. They did not scold. They did not demand obedience. They only helped, only guided, only encouraged. Ryland could hardly believe it. For centuries, dragons had trained with strict discipline, with harsh lessons, with fear as a teacher. And yet here the results were the same, or even better. The dragon children were learning to fly and they were happy. They were confident. They were alive. Lissa spread her wings slowly. "We should go down," she said. "It is time we meet these humans. We must understand what is happening here." Ryland nodded, though he felt nervous. Humans had always been unpredictable. They could be kind, yes, but they could also act recklessly. Still, he trusted Lissa's wisdom. They descended toward the valley, their massive shadows stretching over the grass and small hills. The humans froze for a moment, staring up at the approaching dragons. The dragon children hesitated too, unsure of how the elders would react. But the humans did not run. They did not hide. They held their ground calmly, their faces open and brave. Ryland landed first, lowering his wings. "Do not be afraid," he said to the humans. His voice rumbled like distant thunder but was soft enough to show he meant no harm. "We came to see the children. We mean no attack." The humans nodded, relief spreading across their faces. "We only want to help," said Joran, stepping forward. "We found them when they fell. We wanted to teach them to fly." Rylan blinked. "You taught them?" Joran smiled. "Yes. We have done our best. They are safe and they are flying now." Lissa stepped closer. Her eyes scanned the humans, their children, their careful guidance. She could feel the honesty in their hearts, the courage in their actions. "You risked yourselves for dragon children," she said softly. "You could have left them but you did not." "Why?" Mira, the girl who had guided Tycho, spoke. "We did not see them as different. We only saw them as young and struggling. We wanted to help because we could. Because helping is what we do." Rylan felt something unfamiliar, a warmth in his chest. The sky had always been a place of strength, a place where dragons ruled with power. But now he realized courage and kindness could rule it too. Even from humans. One of the smaller dragons, Pico, flapped toward the elders and chirped happily. He looked at Joran and Mira, then back at Rylan and Lissa. His tiny eyes sparkled. It was a message no words could carry. Humans are friends. Humans can help. Humans are good. The elder dragons looked at each other in silence. They had expected fear, danger, maybe even conflict. Instead they found joy, laughter, and trust. They had expected weakness from humans. Instead they found courage. They had expected misunderstanding. Instead they found wisdom. Rylan spread his wings fully. He felt the wind brush his scales, carrying the voices of the children and the humans together. The valley was alive with sound, with motion, with learning. And he realized something important. Dragons had been wrong to doubt humans. Lissa nodded slowly. "Perhaps it is time the sky changes its mind about humans," she said. "They are not enemies. They are not weak. They can teach. They can guide. And they can protect. Just as we do." The humans cheered softly, their eyes shining. They had never imagined dragons would accept them so quickly. They had expected fear, maybe anger. But instead they felt understanding. Trust had been earned, not through weapons, not through power, but through patience, care, and courage. Rylan looked at the children flying together, guided by humans' hands and hearts. "This is how it should be," he whispered. "They are learning. They are safe. And they are happy. Perhaps this is what the sky needs." Lissa smiled, a rare expression for an elder dragon. "It is more than the sky," she said. "It is the future. Today humans have shown us that trust can fly higher than fear. And the children have learned it first." From above, the sky seemed to shimmer with possibility. The dragons had come expecting fear and danger. Instead they found something far stronger, hope. The humans had not just helped the children fly. They had changed the way dragons saw the world. Rylan looked at the humans and bowed his head slightly in respect. "We were wrong," he said softly. "You have taught us something today. Something we will not forget." The humans smiled, modest and proud. They did not seek glory. They only wanted to help. And in helping they had earned the trust of dragons. As the sun set, painting the valley in golden light, the dragon children continued to fly, the humans running alongside, cheering and guiding. The sky was alive with wings and laughter, a harmony dragons had never expected. For the first time in generations, dragons saw humans not as fragile creatures to fear, but as allies, teachers, and friends. And in that moment, the sky changed its mind. The fear and suspicion that had ruled the skies were gone. In their place grew respect, trust, and a new understanding. And the dragon children, soaring higher than ever before, carried that message into the clouds, into the wind, and into the hearts of every dragon who watched. Years later, the story of the dragon children and the humans who helped them fly became legend. Not just in one valley or one planet but across the galaxy. It was a story that parents told to their younglings, dragons whispered to their hatchlings, and humans shared with other humans. It was a story of trust, courage, and hope. The dragon children who had been lost that day grew up strong. They were among the best flyers of their generation, not because they had been trained with force, but because they had learned to believe in themselves. And every time they soared into the sky, they remembered the humans who had run beside them, who had cheered them on, who had held their tiny bodies when they fell. Rylan had grown older too, his scales darker and marked with years of flight. He often returned to the valley where it had all begun. He would watch the new generation of dragon children play with humans, and he felt something deep inside, a mix of pride, awe, and gratitude. Lissa, the elder, had told him once, "The sky does not belong to the strong alone. It belongs to those who are brave enough to trust and kind enough to help." Those words had stayed with him. They were not just about flight. They were about life, about the galaxy, about what it meant to be truly alive. Over time, humans and dragons began to work together in ways no one had imagined. Humans built safer launch fields for young dragons. They studied the winds, the currents, and even the clouds, finding ways to help dragons glide farther and higher. Dragons, in turn, shared the skies, carrying humans to distant peaks and across the clouds. Children of both species laughed together as they ran races through the valleys, over rivers, and up cliffs. The galaxy watched. Other planets, other civilizations noticed what had happened. A small act of kindness, a few humans helping a few dragons, became a lesson for the universe. Strength was not only in power. Courage was not only in battle. Trust and care could shape worlds as strongly as wings or fire. Stories were written in the archives. Historians recorded that no treaty had been signed, no war had been fought, and no great leader had commanded change. The shift happened quietly, gently, through the actions of a few humans and the laughter of dragon children. It was proof that sometimes, the smallest beings could teach the largest ones the most important lessons. Even the dragon elders remembered the day clearly. They spoke of it not as a mistake avoided or a danger averted, but as a turning point. They told their younglings, humans may be small but their hearts are strong. They believe in helping others. They celebrate success and comfort failure. We learned from them. Rylan watched as new dragon hatchlings ran across the valley, humans alongside them. One tiny dragon, barely able to lift her wings, tripped and fell. A small human hand reached out immediately, steadying her. She looked up, saw the encouraging smile, and flapped again. She lifted, if only for a moment, and laughed. Rylan's eyes glistened. It was the same joy he had seen years ago. And it would never fade. The valley had changed. It had become a place of friendship, of learning, of play. It had become a symbol of what the galaxy could achieve if beings trusted each other. The winds carried not just the sound of wings, but of laughter. The skies were open, bright, and welcoming to all who dared to try. Lissa often said, "The galaxy remembers not only battles or victories. It remembers acts of kindness. It remembers courage. It remembers trust." Rylan believed her. The humans had shown dragons that courage could be quiet and power could be gentle. The dragon children had shown the galaxy that learning and growing together was stronger than fear or suspicion. Even on planets far from the valley, dragons told the story to other species. "We learned from humans," they said. "We learned to trust. We learned that the smallest beings can teach the greatest lessons. And we learned that laughter can carry wings higher than fear ever could." Joran, Mira, and the other humans grew older as well. They did not become rulers or warriors. They did not seek glory. They had only helped a few dragon children fly. But the galaxy remembered them anyway. Statues were never built. Awards were never given. But in every dragon nest, in every human settlement, in every sky touched by wings, their courage and kindness lived on. Rylan often thought of the first day he saw the humans and the children together. He remembered the fear that had filled the skies, the worry that had pressed on his chest. And he smiled because he knew how wrong he had been. Fear had faded, replaced by trust. Panic had vanished, replaced by joy. And dragons had learned the most important lesson of all, that humans, with their small hands and big hearts, could change the world. The galaxy, it seemed, had learned too. It learned that alliances were built not only through treaties and battles, but through care, kindness, and patience. It learned that even the smallest gestures, holding a hand, cheering a laugh, helping wings rise, could echo across worlds. And it learned that when beings of different kinds came together, the sky could grow wider, higher, and more beautiful than anyone had imagined. And so, whenever the dragon children lifted into the air, their laughter ringing across the valley, everyone watching, the dragons, the humans, and even distant planets, knew the truth. Strength was not only power. Bravery was not only boldness. And the sky was not only for dragons. It was for anyone willing to help, to trust, and to believe. And the dragon children, soaring higher than ever, carried that lesson in their wings. They carried it in their laughter. And they carried it across the galaxy, teaching every being that sometimes, the greatest acts of heroism came not from battles, but from helping others fly.